Hello, everyone. Greetings and welcome to Citizen Sleeper. Hello, everyone. Welcome on this lovely Wednesday. We're back to Citizen Sleeper as usual. We're still churning on through this, situation. I'm expecting we're in the back half of the game, and I really need to figure out what I'm planning on doing next. I also noticed that I was way too mumbly yesterday. Last stream. I can only speak of things in their relationship with other things. But the VOD on that one, I kept dropping out, which is such a bummer. I never thought there would be a world in which I was too quiet. That's a first for me. So hopefully we won't have that trouble this time now that I'm aware of it, and we will be going forward with that. Let's pop on over to what even is time. Yeah, I have no idea, man. I've been working against that forever. Oh yeah, no, that's normal. Those little triangles are part of the game. Okay. Last time we had gotten out to, I can't remember what it's called, Oliveira, where we were trying to get into contact with someone who would be able to decode the drive that Ankita gave us, full of information on the Utsubo crime syndicate. We got out there, found that they had been attacked by bounty hunters, and we found the living person that we needed to get the information decoded, along with a heavily damaged sleeper who was also on the run but hadn't disabled their tracking protocols like we had. So now we are working on setting an ambush for those looking out for the sleeper, so that we can keep them and the community that they're in of little backwater salvagers safe, and get our compromising criminal information decoded. We're taking Cadet and Junie, and I think we just started this. We got some pretty terrible... I also just made a horrible mistake of slamming a big Vietnamese coffee, and now, right before the stream started, and now that condensed milk is just giving me, like, weird heartburn hiccups and shit. Wish I could make suggestions for the next game, but I may... Yeah, I understand that completely. There's a very specific aim that I'm looking for, and while I know that there's a lot of stuff out there, it makes it a little harder, oh no! Elf, hello, thank you, welcome in. Hello, Elf and Elf Raiders. I love to see y'all. Thank you so much for dropping by. We just started, and hadn't really begun doing anything. We were briefly talking about Vietnamese coffee as you guys came in here, which is, just it's iced coffee, mixed with condensed milk. It's very sweet, very delicious. I got it with an extra espresso shot so that I am mobile. But yeah, Elf, welcome in. I didn't get a chance to see what you guys were playing. I was running errands all day and just got home about 15 minutes before I had to launch into the stream. For Elf Raiders, welcome in. I do narrative games. I tend to read them aloud, go through them. Yeah, I tend to usually get it with a very light sweetness. More No Man's Sky, hell yeah. I need to get back to the expedition. I started that, but I haven't gotten back to it since I got that. I've been lost in other weird games like Strange Antiquities and the like. But yeah, so I do a lot of narrative games. I like reading them aloud. I like doing story-driven games. We are a fair chunk in through a game right now of Citizen Sleeper. But if you'd like, by all means, pull up a chair, hang out, and feel free to listen in as we have adventures in the horrible capitalist space future. So, right now, we are setting a trap for bounty hunters that are coming after an associate so that we can get some encrypted information, decode it. We have 3 days before something rough happens, so... To be sure you can face the hunter, all 3 parts of the plan must be ready by the time they arrive. To end the hunter, you'll need to set up the old mining ordnance left at the site and bring the whole facility down. There are a few things more dangerous than rigging up expired mining charges and fuel tanks. Carefully does it. Mining explosives, emergency breach charges. There's a lot of old ordnance down here, if it can be gathered and identified. Enticement. To be sure the hunter will enter the facility, you need to make it look like the site of an operational colony. The shell of the manufactory is full of holes. To make it look like a colony, it needs sealing up, and fast. The old Solheim manufactory is a ruin. To convince the hunter, you'll need to add lights, paints, signs, all the signatures of a working colony. To trap the hunter, you'll need to prepare to reactivate the machines and seal the doors once they're inside. One way to drive the hunter deeper into the factory will be to activate the old factory machines, closing off routes and presenting a deadly threat. The massive bulkhead doors in the main factory require a direct approach if you want to funnel the hunter into a trap. I think we'll throw Cadet at that because it's one of the few things that they don't have a penalty to. Levering the doors into place seems to get them moving. The hunter will only be able to proceed inwards. Alright. Now here's where things get a little trickier. Junie, are you useful here at all? Oh, I suspect you're not. One, here we go. Okay, thank you, Junie. Something for you to do. Careful reprogramming means the machines will go haywire on their next activation. Hello, Scoop, welcome in. Wow. Routing power into the machines to reactivate them is dangerous and stressful. They could crush a person in one swipe. Okay, they both minus on both of these two. Oh boy, this is rough. They're gonna be at huge penalties for anything except that middle one. Oh, I'm sorry, your meeting went late. That's always a bummer. Okay. Let's gather ordnance first. Mining explosives, emergency breach charges. There are a lot of old ordnance down here, if it can be gathered and identified. A crate of mining charges is discovered. You hope at least some of them will still fire. The hunter is surely homing in on Flint's signal. In a few cycles, they will be here, and you must be ready to face them. I hope we get some better dice next time, then. Let's start stressing myself out. It is slow progress, but section by section this place is taking shape. Okay. Oi, a small fry. Welcome in, Ash. Ugh, unlucky. Okay. We need to leave that middle one for them. Let's push here. A crate of mining charges is discovered. You hope that some of I did that one. And then let's throw our 2 over here and pray. It's a little rough. It's fine. We're fine. End cycle. Yeah, I feel like I'm bugged out with the glitch thing. I feel like it wasn't supposed to have... I feel like I'm not supposed to be getting glitch, and I don't know why I am. It's a little frustrating. Whatever. Okay. Okay. One of the machines bursts into life and slashes at the air. It has to be destroyed. Okay, you guys aren't using your wands too hot, but that's okay. That's fine. Everything's fine. Alright. I'm gonna throw my 6 on this Endure. Seal all this shit up. It would be impossible to seal the whole facility, but sealing key passages means good progress. Alright. Now... go this. The trick is to be selective, picking likely spots to install lights, giving the sense of a patchwork colony. What could go wrong? Everything. Push. Let's go back over to the bomb segment here. Some of the explosives are daisy-chained together, saving time and detonators. I'll throw my glitch here on the off chance that it does something. I think at worst I get stress. Yeah, this place is huge and in terrible shape. It seems an impossibly big job to disguise that. Oh, this is gonna be tight. This is gonna be so tight. Come on, dude. All right. That's locked up. The Hunter's passage deep into the factory is assured. This might work. You float for a moment, observing the chaos of the old assembly line. The scale of the structure, the number of machines, the arms and fabricators, the welders and bolters suggest industry on a scale that you have never witnessed. The Elian system, a system that now subsists on the leftovers of its failed corporate owners, was once filled with manufactories like this, churning out components and technologies, machines and resources for extracting the valuable materials and minerals that Solheim existed to amass. If someone was able to rebuild one of these places, put it back into operation, imagine what could be fed into the belt, what changes could come for its people. Yet no one will undertake such a task, because this place is haunted by the specter of Solheim, an entity that every being in this system can trace back to their origins. An entity that turned the entire system into a manufactory, a machine for accumulation, and that did not distinguish between human and machines as it did. You look at the broken machines, worn down and rusted, crippled and bent. Some of them have been put back into use this past cycle as part of your plan, and those jerk or turn randomly, blindly groping for components that will never be fed to them. None of them are sentient machines like you, and so they cannot feel or think. And yet you cannot decide if for them to persist is a kind of cruelty that radiates from the system that created them, or the indication of a new life, one that grants them new function, new meaning, and the possibility of something more. Creepy, right? Xander floats beside you, his voice hissing through the close-range comms. Maybe the hunter will be spooked by those twitching arms. He imitates the scattered movements of the factory machines. I doubt it. I'm just messing. Those things wouldn't even scare Cadence. So, Xander gives you a look. How come this hunter isn't chasing you? My tracker is deactivated. Huh? Lucky you. Xander shoots you a look. Who did that? My captor. Xander goes quiet. I see. I can't deactivate Flint's. Sure. Xander looks down. But, maybe once we're done here. He meets your eye. They need your help. Xander looks out at the assembly line and sighs. I like Flint. I'm happy to do this for them. He turns back to you. And I want to like you, too. So don't mess this up, all right? Xander gives you a hard look. Don't let Flint down. Xander kicks off and glides towards the exit without waiting for a response. You watch him go for a moment before turning away. There's still so much to do. Oh boy. Okay. I need to pray that the two of you can get something done here. Come on. Okay. Good. Great. Come on, Junie. One time, just give me a neutral. Fuck. Cadet, one more time, come on. Hey, good enough. Good enough. I think we might have this. Cadence's voice comes over the comms, shimmering with interference. From here, it doesn't look half bad. You look across the shell of the manufactory, now studded with lights and dotted with markings. The fresh welds and plates giving the whole place a fragile, patchwork feeling. If I was a piece of shit hunter, this is what I'd think a normal person's settlement would look like. Right? We better hope so. Cadence goes quiet for a moment, her attempted humor only serving to remind you both of the desperate circumstances. Have you spoken to Flint? Cadence pauses. I mean, really spoken? Not really. Oh. Cadence searches for a response. Flint is very loyal. I know they're quiet and, intense, but... She sighs. I just hope the two of you can find some common ground. I don't think Flint likes me. Nobody thinks Flint likes them at first. You can hear Cadence's comforting smile in her voice. We know better now. Olivera is a refuge. Cadence takes a breath. For all of us. I was in trouble when I met Carmen. We all were, in one way or another. Seraphin has told me a lot about you. Cadence hesitates. And I can see what you're trying to do for Flint. For Olivera. Give me one. Discord notifications. Let her finish. I appreciate it. And I know Xander does, and Carmen will do as well. And Flint... Cadence pauses. Well, you'll see. The comms click off, returning you to the silence of the manufactory. You look out across the false colony at the glittering lights. They are a poor imitation of Olivera's real lights, those that indicate the colony's fragile, delicate state. You shake it off and move on. This isn't over yet. Push. And we get it done. The interior of the factory is rigged to blow. At least, in theory. Go easy with that. Flint's voice rumbles over the local comms as you secure the final piece of ordnance. You turn to see them floating, backlit in the entrance to the bay, one of many that you have rigged with ordnance deep in the manufactory. Down here, dust and flecks of rust float through the beams of your lights, and the walls are bent and buckled. They've spent the past cycles here, picking out a spot to draw the hunter down to, one they should be able to slip out of when the hunter finds their way in. It's a long time to be down in these dark tunnels, waiting. Looks like we are just about done. Their voices flat, their tone pragmatic. You okay? Flint nods. Eager to be done with this. They look over their shoulder, however it plays out. Flint glides into the bay slowly. There's something I need to tell you, something I think you'll understand. What we are doing out here is not about saving me. It's about Oliveira. You struggle to see Flint's face with the light behind them. I should be on a ship out of here, leading this hunter away. But they won't let me do that. They shake their head in frustration. And even if they would, they can't spare the ship. Not after Carmen's got shot up. That was my mistake. I never should have let him persuade me to come with him on that supply run. Flint looks down. What's done is done. What matters now, what I need from you, is a promise. Flint's bright irises flash. That you'll bring this place down with me in it. If it means stopping the hunter. I promise. Flint nods. I knew you'd understand. You know as well as I do that those who get close to us are at risk. That we, as sleepers, have to recognize what we open the door to. Carmen is my fault. I won't be Oliveira's downfall, too. With that, they turn and leave you in the dark. Okay. Oh, we're good. Oh, we're good. I even still had 2 terrible dice left. I don't think they'd have helped, but I had them. Wake up, sleeper. Seraphin is in the bunks. We've got incoming. You shake off the haze of forgotten dreams and get up. In moments, you are in the cockpit. Xander, Cadence, and Seraphin all gathered around the console. On it, the local view shows nothing. Not a single ship signal. And few objects beyond a scattering of debris. It was right here. I swear it. Seraphin jabs at the screen. A ship. Small, but definitely a ship. Seraphin, Cadence sighs. We've been up a while. Get some rest. I know what I saw. He catches her eye. You look at the screen, its gridded view showing the scattered signature of debris, like schools of fish drifting in a soft current. The manufactory is a noisy blob at the center of the circle, one that dissolves into the background at its edges. Nothing. And then there it is, a flicker, a flash, a spark of movement and light among one of the debris clouds. It flares, and then is gone again. You look up and Seraphin meets your eye. He reads your expression immediately. Seraphin slams a hand down on the console, opening up the comms channel. Look alive, Flint. They're coming in. Go deep and be ready to run. He pulls his hand off the switch. We better hope they heard that. Then you see it, through the cockpit glass, the flare of an engine, faint and masked, but the driving a squat, dark ship out of the debris. The Hunter. The ship seems to idle a little near the manufactory's asteroid, drifting past the dressed-up shell of the old facility. Time to see if our fake colony is convincing enough. Cadence nervously clasps her hands together. Will they buy it? They better. Seraphin looks concerned. Because if they think this place looks abandoned, the hunter might just strafe the whole facility. Seraphin swallows hard. We need them to dock, to come inside. You look out at the ship, and as you do, it jumps forward towards the docking tower. You watch for a few tense moments as it hesitates, and then slides into position on one of the docking bridges. Cadence sighs in relief. They went for it. Seraphin pats you on the shoulder. Good job. The rat's in the maze. We can track them now. He exhales. At least that's the theory. I hooked up some basic monitoring devices in the assembly line. Xander calls from another console. A few shitty cameras repurposed from the factory monitoring systems. Not much, but hopefully enough to tell where they're at. Cadence, Seraphin, and you crowd around the screen. Xander flicks between noisy black and white images and feeds of static. You squint into the fizzing dark, trying to pick out any detail. Then, suddenly, you see them. That's a sleeper hunting a sleeper. Oh. A shadow drifting beneath a flickering light. Dark clad in military gear, a long gun held ready at their shoulder, deathly pale skin, and in their eyes, gleaming through the faceplate, glowing irises. Who the hell is that? Seraphin pulls back from the screen. They look like a sleeper. Xander finishes Seraphin's sentence. The figure disappears outside the margins of the frame, and Xander flicks through the feeds. Where did they go? You drift back from the screen, trying to think straight. The hunter is a sleeper, or something else. You replay the image of the figure in your mind, but it has already shifted in your memory. It is your face staring back. It is Flint's. It is the sleeper's mask of death. Sleeper. Seraphin grabs you by both shoulders and looks you in the eye. We need to focus. We should get down there. Xander's eyes are wide. This changes things. This changes nothing. Seraphin nods. We wait for Flint's signal. We hold here. The ordnance is in place. Seraphin looks at you for reassurance. The moment we get the signal, we blow it. You think of the mining charges rigged in daisy chains, the fuel barrels lashed to detonators, the command code ready to transmit from the rig. Seraphin sees the determination in your eyes. We hold. So you wait. Cadence's eyes on the manufactory below, Xander tapping at the glass, Seraphin perched by the console listening for the signal. Then you hear it, the hiss of an open comms channel. You look to Seraphin, and he hears it too, a static haze that fills the cockpit. You all go still. Seraphin nods towards an indicator on the console. It's Flint's channel. A click, a scrape, and then silence. Seraphin frowns, tapping at the controls. What? He scrolls. Flint's transceiver is gone. It's dead. What if the reason SNR canceled all their freelance contracts in favor of an in-house agent in the last game is because they have a backup of Maywick and are just 3D printing their own bounty? Fuck, yeah, you're probably right. They just have sleeper hunting sleepers now because they can just make their own. Oh yeah. Panic hits the cockpit. Xander gliding over to the console, Cadence going pale. Sleeper. Seraphin turns and looks back over his shoulder towards you. We need to go in. Go! Cadence looks between you, Seraphin, and Xander with a steely expression. I'll stay here. She glances nervously at the console. Give me the signal and I'll send the detonation signal. She swallows hard. If it works. Seraphin looks torn for a moment, and then nods. Let's go. You rush down to the airlock and suit up with the others, and then you are out, descending through the rock-strewn void in tense silence. You enter the manufactory through a gap in the frame, passing through layers of twisted facility into the deep parts where you know Flint waits in the dark. You say nothing to each other, afraid the comms will be intercepted. You lead Xander and Seraphin on, seeking the deep bays under the silos where you began setting up the ordnance. Though unfinished, perhaps there is enough down there for this to work. If not... Seraphin's hand falls on your shoulder, pulling you back. You go to speak, and then you see it, a torch beam lancing through the dark. The Hunter, as you saw them on the grainy footage of Xander's cameras, but real now, just below, a long gun held ready at their shoulder, pushing through the dark and broken layers of the facility, seeking Flint. Seraphin, Xander, and you exchange wide-eyed glances in silence. The Hunter passes below, disappearing into a dark passage. You wait together, the moment stretching out, and then descend down into that same passage. The silence is absolute. Suddenly there is a flash of light ahead, bright and forceful, and a rumble that shakes rust flakes from the wall. Xander pushes off hard, launching past you into the dark. Seraphin goes too, and you instinctively glide forward as another rumble shakes the foundations of the facility. You come into a low bay scattered with glowing embers. Scorched holes in the walls spew drops of red-hot metal where a weapon has been discharged. The Hunter floats at the center, taking aim again, and you see a flicker of movement on the far side, Flint retreating. Before you can act, a slight figure in a suit slams into the back of the Hunter, Xander. As he hits, the Hunter's gun spins out of their hand. Grab the gun. You kick away from Xander and the Hunter as they grapple together, spinning in the dark towards a deep shaft at the far side of the bay. You spot the shape of the long gun as it spins ahead of you. As you reach it, your hand locking around the sculpted grip, you spin and raise it. The first shot goes wide, burning a scorching hole in the bay wall. The second shot grazes the side of the Hunter's suit in a flurry of sparks. They are thrown away from Xander, unable to find anything to slow their glide. The Hunter disappears into the dark of the shaft, leaving a trail of embers in the dark. You see fear in Xander's eye as they turn back to you. The muzzle of the gun smokes, glowing red. It is spent. "I've got Flint," Seraphin calls over local comms. "We ascend now!" You look across to the two of them, kicking off from the floor of the bay towards a ragged hole in the ceiling. You and Xander exchange a single glance, and then follow. "Cadence?" Seraphin is on the wide band. "Detonate this place now! Send the command!" There is silence. You ascend through the layers of the manufactory, seeking the open void of space beyond. You clear the manufactory, gliding into open space. A silent shockwave, like a gust of wind, runs through the void. The silent rumble spits out a scatter of debris. You turn back, still gliding towards the ship, and you see the shattered manufactory. Whole sections are bending outward, the framework shredded, plating tumbling away in shards. You look across at Seraphin and Flint, their eyes set on the ship, trying only to stay ahead of the debris. You do the same, fixing your attention on the rig and nothing else. The Hunter is dead. Hell yeah! Get fucked. Can we leave, please? I would like to leave. Anyway, that Hunter is dead. You limp back to Oliveira, the mood in the rig one of deep exhaustion. But as the colony appears visible from the cockpit, the satisfaction of having run a terrifying gauntlet and come back in one piece shifts the mood. The crew's improved mood only becomes more obvious as you draw closer to Oliveira. As you come into dock with the colony, you feel a wave of relief. Seraphin pats you on the shoulder as you both wait for the airlock to open. That Hunter. He sighs. SNARP is crueler than I could have imagined. It doesn't surprise me. It's a nasty logic. Send a sleeper to catch a sleeper. Seraphin shakes his head. I'm glad we bought Flint some freedom. The airlock hisses open, revealing the docking bridge where Xander first confronted you. This time, another more substantial figure waits in the passage. I hear you're the ones I should be thanking for saving my life. Carmen leans against the side of the tunnel, one arm clamped against his waist. So, thank you. He nods at the two of you. Glad to see you up. Just about, although I'm told I shouldn't be. He smiles slyly. Carmen! Cadence rushes past the two of you, gliding into Carmen with an embrace strong enough to leave the injured man off balance. All right, careful. You don't want to put me back in the med bay now, do you? Carmen pushes Cadence back with a gentle grip on her shoulders. He flinches as he does, his joke clearly holding some truth. Sorry, Cadence smiles. Just glad to see you up. A frown crosses Carmen's face. Where's Xander? You losing your vision, old man? You look back to see Xander and Flint behind you in the tunnel. Xander smiles widely at Carmen, betraying his happiness to see him. I'll be just fine, Xan. Carmen's words are confident, but his tone suggests he isn't convinced. You notice his hands are tightly balled into fists, as if resisting pain, and you wonder if he should really be up at all. Carmen turns to look at you and Seraphin. I think we need to talk. How about you two and Flint accompany me to the medbay? Carmen winks. Flint pushes past you both and goes to Carmen, helping him out of the tunnel. As he does, they exchange a few words, but you are too far away to make them out. You and Seraphin exchange glances and follow behind them into Oliveira. Carmen leads you to a small recovery chamber in the med bay where his bed is set up. A handful of tubes and wires float gently beside it, attached to boxy devices. Flint has already left the group, leaving just you and Seraphin with Oliveira's injured founder. Carmen meets your eye with a hard look. So, how did you two end up stumbling onto our colony out in the shoals? He raises an eyebrow, because we're usually not open to visitors. Ankita sent us to you. You see the flicker of recognition in Carmen's eyes when you mention Ankita. You produce the thumbnail drive, holding it out to Carmen to inspect. She told the sleeper to deliver this to you, and you alone. Seraphin folds his arms. Carmen pauses thoughtfully. That's a name I have not heard for a while. He takes the drive. It seems I should thank you again. He sighs, and perhaps I owe you some explanation myself. Ankita and I used to work together a lifetime ago. Carmen shakes his head. We went our separate ways, but then she turned up back in Oliveira. I established this colony as a refuge, a way of starting again. Carmen clasps his hands together. The belt is changing, and I am afraid of what is coming. Ankita took refuge here for a short time, and then one cycle she was gone. Carmen shrugs. That's not unusual for her. Each of us has our own demons. He holds up the drive. I will take a look at what's on here when I am able. He looks at the drive with concern, and I will let you know what I find. You and Seraphin thank him and leave the chamber as he settles back on his recovery bed. As you leave, Flint catches your attention. Can we speak? Seraphin pauses. I'll catch you back on the rig. He looks between the two of you and then glides away. Flint hovers, a look of concern on his mask-like face. What do you need? Flint gives you a curious look. You don't remember any of it, do you? Any of what? Of how you got here, of your history. Flint screws up their face in a pained expression. At first I thought you were hiding something, or you were intentionally avoiding the subject, so I waited. But I understand it now. You don't remember me at all. You take a moment to think, to try to recall Flint. You furrow your brow in frustration, sifting through the hazy memories of Darkside and further back of your arrival to the belt. You close your eyes and see the faces of the other sleepers, panicked, desperate in darkness. I don't remember. We worked together in the same SNARP mining installation, along with other sleepers. He searches your eyes for a spark of recognition. We weren't close. I'm not sure we really spoke. Very few of us did. But I was there when we planned the escape together. The run to the freighter, collapsing the mine shaft. Flint stops, struggling to continue in the face of the blank look you are giving them. You feel an unpleasant itch, as if something is crawling around inside your skull. You can see that Flint wants you to recall them, to recall the escape, the installation, but you find only hazy sensations, and beneath them, pain. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Flint looks down. I know you can't help it. I just needed to say something. To know if you really don't remember. Thank you for everything you've done for me and for Olivera. Flint turns and drifts away dejectedly, unable to continue. As you watch Flint go, you scratch at the side of your head, trying to find something in the way they move, the way they speak, their mask-like face. A face that was identical to yours when it was first cast, but that over cycle after cycle of wear and damages has been transformed. Two machines so close in form and function, estranged by experience. Bummer. I was really curious briefly when they were talking about that, whether or not me and Flint were based off the same neural pattern. Because I think that would be an interesting thing, having a sleeper based off the same person meet each other, and then the divergence of those forks and copies. Yeah, we could stand for some supply gathering, I think. You put together a crate of supplies from the stacks, making the most of all the produce on offer. The Olivera colonists allow you to gather supplies, but you have to harvest, pack, and process them yourself, which can be exhausting. Ba-da-ba. Aw, bummer. Eesh. You struggle to work the stacks and process the produce. After lots of wasted time, you have nothing. Bummer. Ungi. Thanks for coming up, Sleeper. Carmen is waiting for you and Seraphin when you arrive at the medbay, looking a lot fresher. He leads you into a small alcove set up like an office with an aging terminal on a simple welded desk and a small window looking out across the dusty rock of Olivera. Got some news for us? Seraphin asks impatiently. Since you arrived back from the manufactory, he has been restless, though you aren't sure why. Not to worry. Carmen grins slyly. I think you'll want to hear this. He hits a key on the terminal, and a file browser appears on the screen, showing hundreds of individual pieces of data. Ankita has been busy. Carmen gestures to the screen. She's been scraping Utsubo communications cycle after cycle. Got access to ciphers and encryption that only the gang's leadership should be able to see. He smiles. It seems she's learned some tricks since we worked together. But that's not what matters. What matters is the content of these messages. He taps a few keys and loads some of the data, which scrolls down the screen. Some parts of Utsubo leadership have been getting ideas. Ideas about taking Greenbelt and controlling food production in the belt. About exerting power over Wellspring. Big ideas for a gang. But these Utsubo members aren't alone. They have found themselves a powerful ally. Carmen shakes his head. Senate-Stat. Senate-Stat. One of the two corporations fighting a bitter battle for control of the inner system. A pernicious force. One that Utsubo are opening a door for in the belt. You can't be serious. Seraphin cuts in. They can't be that stupid. I don't know what to tell you. At least someone inside Utsubo is trying to broker a partnership. Who? Seraphin leans over to look at the screen. You don't need Carmen's answer, and neither does Seraphin. Lane. Seraphin looks at you, shaking his head. It has to be Lane. Carmen looks between you both. Seems like you already know something I don't. Lane is a piece of shit Utsubo leader who thinks he owns us. Seraphin shakes his head. Exactly the kind of piece of shit arrogant enough to try to manipulate Senate-Stat. Carmen nods thoughtfully. My condolences.
I'm starting to see how you crossed paths with Ankita.
We have a shared enemy then. Carmen pauses, his face unmoving.
I'm not sure you want this fight, Sleeper. Like I said, Ankita and I worked together. To put it simply, we ran in the same mercenary outfit.
Carmen looks away.
A lot has happened since then, but this message, this data, it's her calling in a favor. And I owe her, that's for sure.
Carmen shakes his head and pushes himself off from the desk, crossing the room to look out of the window at Oliveira's pale and airless surface.
Hell, after what went down, I owe both of you, too.
You look at Carmen, staring out at the surface of this hostile rock, and wonder what he sees out there. He established the colony as a fallback, a retreat, not just for him, but for others too. But you get the feeling that Carmen knows any retreat is only ever temporary. He turns back to look at you.
And you, Sleeper? What will you do?
I don't think we get out of this without killing Lane. I think we need to take on Utsubo.
Take on a gang? Carmen smiles. Are you sure about that?
We're gonna end Lane. Whatever it takes. Seraphin stares down at Carmen, fists balled.
Carmen looks at you. That one is going to get you into trouble.
He turns to Seraphin,
but I like that energy.
He looks back out the window.
This is not something we are going to take head on.
He shakes his head.
Ankita sent us our weapon.
Carmen turns and gestures at the console screen with its reams of incriminating data.
Utsubo don't control all of Darkside. They only aspire to. They also claim to offer protection from the war between Senatstadt and Conway. That presents us with an opportunity. Utsubo is full of members who'd rather die than concede Darkside to a corporate interest. We play this right, Utsubo will end Lane for us.
He smiles at Seraphin.
To use your phrase.
We leak the data?
Not leak.
Carmen frowns.
This is delicate, tricky. There's lots of ways this can play out badly for all of us.
We can handle it. We've cracked Darkside once, we can do it again. Seraphin's confidence is infectious.
Is that right?
Carmen seems to be thinking something through. He crosses to the console, back to the window, and then to the console once more.
All right, I'm going to need some time, but I can put this together.
Carmen nods at Seraphin.
We'll need that energy, but you also need to be ready. We rush this, it's not ending well, so I can wait.
Carmen turns his attention to you.
We'll go from the Greenbelt when you're ready. I have friends there who can help get that ship of yours into Darkside.
Seraphin looks at you. We all have our own preparations to make, but we'll be ready.
All right.
Carmen unplugs Ankita's drive and hands it to you.
Take this and get out of here. I don't want anyone finding this thing in my possession.
To the window, to the console, till the sweat drips down my... Wait. You take it, the tiny drive somehow heavier now that you know it contains the key to exposing Lane. See you in the Greenbelt.
I'll see you in the Wheat Sheaf.
Carmen smiles to himself.
They know me there. Just understand something.
Carmen's expression turns serious.
You want my help on this? There's no way we can let it get back to the colony. Once you leave here, you're not coming back to Oliveira. Not until we're done.
He meets your eye. He needs confirmation that you recognize the importance of this. I understand. Carmen nods.
Then you can go.
He returns to the window to stare at whatever it is he sees out there among the dusty rocks. When you come back to the rig, Flint is waiting for you, leaning by the docking tunnel with a bag over his shoulder. They look up as you approach.
Hey.
Flint nods a greeting, appearing a little unsure. Hey.
I know you've already done a lot for me, so I'm not going to push you or ask for your pity.
They pause. You feel like they have been preparing this speech.
Firstly, I owe you, and I want to pay you back. I can work
and I can fight, and I will protect this ship and this crew with everything I have. Secondly, we come from the same place, and whether you remember it or not, that means something. It must. I know I'm not the easiest to get on with. I know you might have some reservations about having another sleeper on the ship, but that's enough. Flint stops immediately. Sorry. You look at Flint, their frame so much more damaged than yours, but with a fire burning in their eyes that makes them seem bigger than they are. Welcome aboard. A smile spreads across Flint's face, and they look down to hide it. Thank you, they say to the floor. This will work out. You'll see. Flint nods to you once more and then turns and glides down the docking tunnel towards the ship. As they do, two figures at the edge of the docking concourse catch your eye. You pause to look, shifting a little, and as you do, you recognize Cadence leaning in. Some words are exchanged, ones you can only guess at, and then the other figure embraces Candace and turns back to the ship. As Seraphin approaches, he ducks his head quietly past you into the docking tunnel without a word. You take one last look out at the docks, but Cadence is gone. You idle a moment longer and feel that there's something, some presence, even in this empty bays. Something rare in all the belt that Oliveira has captured. But as with all things, you must learn to leave it behind. New crew, Flint. I like Flint. Alright. I'm gonna... 1, feed the stray. 2, feed the sleeper. 3, spend this 5 and 6 recouping those supplies. Then I need to get some fuel? Oh, but I have to do it myself. Fine. Well, you struggle with the interfaces of the extraction system and gain nothing useful from your work. It takes time and effort, but you manage to extract some fuel for use in your ship. I need enough fuel to get off this rock, quite literally. One fuel. One fuel. One fuel. 3 fuel. Nothing. That's fine. We're fine. Everything's good now. We can leave. Alright. Need to help Aki. We can return to the Greenbelt now. Investigate Hexport. Cadet has a lead from Hexport. We need to get back to Darkside for that. Overthrow Lane is waiting for Carmen's message. Repainting the rig is making sketches across the belt, which we have done in most places. Alright. We need to get back to the Greenbelt. That's our first bet. What is going on in the hollow again? I don't think anything really. I'll fill my fuel though. And then we're just gonna jump to the Greenbelt. You find yourself in the cockpit alone with Flint. They have a habit of entering a room so silently that you don't notice them arrive. or the reverse, leaving so silently that you turn around to find them gone. Right now, they hover expectantly at the corner of your vision, preparing to speak. Do you ever think about your original? The way they ask the question, you can tell they've been eager to ask it for a while. The person you were emulated from, I mean. The person who sold you, to SNARP. Flint's expression doesn't betray any emotion, but you feel like you can detect some unknowable feeling whirling behind their eyes. Sometimes I can't stop thinking about them, about who they were, and if who I am has anything to do with them. Flint looks away. Is my personality a product of being a sleeper or simply a copy of theirs? Have I changed? Or am I still identical to them? Does the emulation process, the loss of memory, the insertion into a frame, actually make us totally different people? What came through the process of emulation? And what was blocked? Flint is looking around the cockpit rapidly now, their eyes flicking from object to object as they speak. Are their memories still inside me, but cut off, concealed? And if I admit it, I wonder if I even know what it feels like to be a person. Do the humans around me feel the same things I feel? Or do they feel more, feel less, feel somehow differently? Do they feel the creeping claustrophobia of being trapped inside a body with no escape? Flint's eyes flick back to you. Or do only we know how that truly feels? I think they do. I don't know if it's enough to just believe. Flint meets your eyes. I want to know. You are the first sleeper I have met since my escape. We can find out together. Share your experiences. There is a wall in you, one that you have built for yourself, one that separates the kind of questions Flint is asking from the parts of you that you need to live. You feel it now, like a weight in your chest, and behind it there is a raging torrent pressing against it. You cannot take down the wall. You would drown. But in this moment, for Flint and for yourself, you take out a single brick. You make a gap in the wall, and you share what comes bursting forth. You talk about what it feels like to wake up in a dying body, to catch a glance of yourself in the mirror, to be seen and reminded of your false and fractured face. You share the pain of lost memories, of fleeting déjà vu, of dreams that slip between your waking life and replace it. You find in your broken bodies and unsteady minds a kind of solidarity, one shared between connected strangers who might, one cycle, understand each other as friends. As you put the brick back in and shore up your defenses, you know that cycle will not be this one. But its distant possibility is a reassuring one. The biosphere, once barren, is transformed where it was once dry and gray. Now it swirls with amber dust, a hazy cloud cut through with the bone-white tendrils of steppe silk. Aki, in her mask and goggles, lets the biosphere's circulating air play with the end of her scarf, twirling and twisting, even threatening to rip it from her neck. That scarf, she has explained, is woven from the bast fibers of the steppe silk itself. That is why this place is known as Weaver's Fields, for the workshops of Greenbelt residents creating fabric from its steppe silk fibers. Weavers who fled from Ember's steppe, and those taught afresh by Aki herself. Isn't it beautiful? Aki asks, her eyes glowing. Ember's steppe reborn on this rock, but not as an archive, as something new. The plants themselves are reconfigured. The steppe silk adapts well to the microgravity, even thrives, and the dust itself becomes a cloud that surrounds it. Aki points to a tendril stretching out across the space. What was once a burrowing plant is now a bridging plant. Like us, it projects itself across empty space, pushing out into its new conditions. Aki looks at you. Sorry, I'm rambling. This place does that to me. Her chuckle is muffled by her mask. It is beautiful. Aki bows. Thank you. I'm glad that you like it. Let's leave the dust house. We can talk more easily outside. She shepherds you through some nearby double doors, the space between blasting you with air to clean away the dust. You find yourself in a sparse room, racks of unfamiliar tools on the wall, slit-like windows looking out into the amber dust storm. This is just the beginning for us. Aki has slipped off her mask and her voice is crisp and bright above the rumbling of the air recyclers. That step silk is already being harvested, retted, and woven. This is no synthetic fiber from the dark side looms. This is natural fabric out here in this unnatural place. Aki brushes a little dust away. We will trade it and get what the Greenbelt needs to stay stable, to feed its people. I am the administrator, but the workers are the owners here, and we will make a future for ourselves from our work. Aki shrugs. We control our path. What more could we want? Silence falls in the room. The idea of such a future so desirable that it is almost painful. An idea that haunts you. You can spend as much time here as you like. Aki breaks the silence, somehow aware of your thoughts. I find the noise soothes me. Thank you. Aki bows gently. You leave Aki in her dust house, surrounded by the landscape of her homeworld, one of many creatures born on that parched moon that is in the process of transforming into something new. All right, and before we get into any of the stuff and decide what we're going to do with our upgrade point, I am going to run our 3-minute ad break at the middle of the stream to keep us free of pre-roll ads. So take a break, use the restroom, get a drink, anything that you need to do, and we'll get back to it in about 3 minutes. See y'all soon. We are approaching the end of this. I need to figure out what I'm doing next. I have a couple of ideas, but I haven't made a full pick yet. One of the ones I was thinking of was called Back to the Dawn. Story-rich RPG set in a high-security prison ruled by factions and buried secrets. Investigate 2 conspiracies from the inside, gather evidence, and outsmart a system designed to silence you. Make friends or foes with fellow inmates, and with their help, break out of prison. And it's a weird little furry escape RPG game. Seems like that one could be kind of fun. Another one I was thinking of was a much more straight visual novel. Which was The House in Fata Morgana. A gothic suspense tale set in a cursed mansion, full-length visual novel spanning a millennium that deals in tragedy, human nature, and insanity. It would be much more similar to the Chrono Jotter again, just kind of a straightforward visual novel. I feel like I had something else too, but I can't remember what it was. Either way, I'll have some time to figure it out, maybe? Maybe. Hope everyone is doing well. I think we are just about back. We are back. Yahoo. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Let us get on the Citizen Sleeper. Wait. Oh, yeah. What are we spending this on? I think we take a point in... Wait, what is Flint good at? Nothing. I think we take a point in Endure. We don't have anyone on our squad that can do that. None of our crew have anything. So... Oh, I need to wait for Carmen's message. I see. Okay. Then... I think I'm just gonna chill, honestly. I'll buy a meal. And then I think I'm just gonna, if it doesn't happen in a day or two, we'll see. But I don't have anything that I need to right now except for waiting for Herman's message. Ah, here we go. We've got a message, Sleeper. Seraphin comes to the bunks to get you, his mood unusually serious. He brings you to the cockpit, his keepsake coin in his hands the whole time, spinning between his fingers. Seraphin is worried. Once you're in the cockpit, you recognize Carmen's voice immediately playing over the rig's speakers. Sleeper, I hope this message finds you and your crew safely. You'll forgive me if I'm a little tight on the details. My message is as follows. We are ready. We will be waiting where we agreed. Godspeed. The message ends with a click. So, Seraphin takes a deep breath. They're waiting in the greenbelt. The wheat chief. He said, whatever that is. You ready for this? I'm ready. Seraphin nods. All right then. Quiet falls into the cockpit. There doesn't seem to be much more to say. Carmen will be waiting, but you know he will want you to be prepared. I'll be ready when you are, Sleeper. Seraphin nods to you. You nod back. You know where you need to go to end this. Meet Carmen. You and Seraphin get a drink. You get Seraphin and yourself a drink and begin the wait. The Wheat Chief is surprisingly welcoming for what was once an old Solheim canteen. The corporate bones are still there, metal stools, a strip of service windows, sheet metal walls. But over the tens of thousands of cycles since the collapse, they have been softened and changed, layered with the detritus of human existence. As you wait at the bar with Seraphin, you look at the planters welded into the walls, the scrawled messages, the layers of stickers and flyers and posters, the amber light fittings, replacing the old fluorescent strips, the gear racks lined with farmers' packs, the netting bulging with crates and canisters. Along with the low rumble of conversation coming from the off-shift farmers, it all lends a warmth to the place that helps soothe. Okay. Focus. Along with the low rumble of conversation coming from the off-shift farmers, it all lends a warmth to the place, one that helps soothe your nerves ahead of the meet with Carmen. You and Seraphin lean side by side at the bar, facing towards the room. You both watch Flint, just across from you, who insisted on coming along. Seraphin clears his throat. What do you think of Cadence? The sudden question makes you look over at him, and you see he is playing with his coin, spinning it in his palm. I like her. Me too. Seraphin smiles to himself, closing his hand on the coin. I think... He pauses, and then starts again. We kind of have a thing. He shakes his head. You know what I mean. I noticed. Yeah. He smiles. I thought you might. Well, Seraphin sighs and stretches. I guess I just wanted you to know. You are thinking of how to respond when the bartender taps you on the shoulder and nods towards the door to the back room. It's time. You look over at Seraphin and Flint, who is already approaching you. You give them a nod and head inside. The back room is metal-walled and lined with racks of old Solheim tech. You see cookers and auto-wash units, piled up with dead terminals and servers. At the far end, a window looks out across the greening glass of the Greenbelt's farms. You made it! Carmen smiles, backlit by the window. We have a lot to discuss. Good to see you. Flint, if you don't mind. Carmen nods at the other sleeper as they enter and gestures towards the door. Flint turns to you. I'll be outside. They slide the door shut, standing guard on the other side. We have to take some precautions, even here. Carmen gestures for you to come closer. So, Seraphin sighs. Is this plan of ours looking any more reasonable? That depends on what your crew can bring to the table. Carmen glances at you. We are going to need to do a lot of work to direct the data Ankita gave you towards those that need to see it. What did you have in mind? We need to reveal Lane's betrayal to Utsubo and Darkseid without being discovered in the process. Not an easy task. But we noticed within 10 seconds of you meeting her, right? Seraphin, you are not a subtle man. Will they turn on him? Hard to tell without us being there. You'd know better than me how much infighting is going on with Utsubo, but my suspicion is that the recent expansion has stretched them pretty thin. Then we make contact with Ankita as soon as we make it into Darkseid. Seraphin looks at you. We just need to stay under Lane's radar. The thought of Lane brings the memory of his attempted takeover to the front of your mind. The feeling of him slipping behind your eyes, moving your frame. That can't happen again. Apologies, we do not wish to interrupt, but we must interject in your current course. Overseer appears in the void, flickering nervously. An encounter with Lane would likely be catastrophic. Overseer's 3 forms orbit you. As we have mentioned, on arrival to Habpep, we must immediately seek the mainframe, from where we can recover my codebase and reconstruct ourselves. We would then be able to aid you in your defense against being rewritten. This is our recommended course. The 3 heads nod simultaneously and decisively. Still with us, sleeper? You come back to Seraphin's concerned face. You dropped out for a second. Explain about Overseer. You tell Seraphin and Carmen about Overseer, about how the old Solheim protocol slipped into your frame from the prime ship mind Jean-Mi used in the diagnostic process. About how the old Solheim protocol slipped into your frame from the prime ship mind Jean-Mi used in the diagnostic process. Of Overseer's protection from Lane's attempts to control you, of its proposal to make that protection effective through the old mainframe of Darkseid. They listen quietly, Seraphin carefully watching you as you explain. Revealing all this, you feel the burden of holding that knowledge alone being lifted. This changes things. Carmen turns and looks out of the large window at the back of the room, towards the glass canopy of the farms. We can't take on Lane without protecting you from him. Carmen turns back. You should look for the mainframe. I will make contact with Ankita and we will meet when you are ready. But this has to remain secret from Lane and Utsubo. If you are revealed, I am not sure I will be able to recover you. By the time you have ensured your safety, I will have put together a plan with Ankita to expose Lane. We take it step by step. The crux will be to find a way to disseminate the data we have on Lane to his gang, or even Darkseid at large. Carmen stops, the path ahead still unclear to him. There is a nervous intake of breath from Seraphin. You share his apprehension. There are so many variables at play here. Some of the old tech strapped to a nearby rack flickers with a cascade of status lights. You all turn to look, and as you do, motors and servos begin spinning within the machines, whining and groaning. They harmonize, then begin to produce a voice. Our apologies. The voice is shrill and distorted. We must interpose ourselves. You recognize the tone immediately. Overseer. We are regretful. Solheim Hardware in this room provided the opportunity for us to speak for ourselves. If the pile of servers Overseer was controlling could look any more apologetic, you imagine that it would. Say what you have to say. A servo clicks nervously, but Overseer does not immediately respond. We ascertain you require dissemination of data within facility you target. The whine pitches higher as the motors increase their speed. As a Solheim protocol, we have capabilities to instigate station-wide announcements and messaging. So you could blast out Lane's betrayal through Darkseid's corporate hardlines and flood the network with it. Seraphin looks impatiently at the screeching pile of scrap. If that is what you require of us, we are pleased to serve. The shrill tone of the response makes you cringe. Carmen has been listening silently, but now he interjects.
Why should we trust you?
He glances in your direction.
You seem to be a little more than a parasite in the Sleeper's system.
If we use your unflattering analogy, then you will understand that a parasite requires the body of its host to live. The motors stutter. We will ensure the Sleeper's continuance.
And afterwards?
Carmen folds his arms.
When you have what you want and regain your codebase from the mainframe, will you still do as we ask?
We will endeavor to do so. The acrid smell of burning motors now fills the room, but we will undergo a transformative refactoring. We will become whole again. So, we cannot speak to our actions in future with certainty. Seraphin and Carmen exchange concerned looks. We can do what you require. We will protect the Sleeper. We will disseminate the data. We are a service protocol. We will serve. The motors and servos stutter and whine, and then go still, the status lights blinking and then fading to darkness. Overseer has retreated. We aren't actually going to do what the ghost says, are we? Seraphin looks between you and Carmen. Of course we are, Seraphin.
The offer is a tempting one, and one that ultimately we cannot refuse.
Carmen sighs.
But we must proceed with extreme care and caution.
What do you think, Sleeper? Seraphin meets your eye. I trust Overseer. Seraphin sighs. And that's that.
We have our plan.
Carmen turns to you.
Sleeper, you and your crew will find the mainframe and access it. I will find Ankita. She will help us disseminate the evidence of Lane's collusions through Utsubo, and then as a fallback, Overseer will send it through the old networks to all of Darkseid.
A simple plan, until you get to the details. Seraphin looks down, frustrated.
Speaking of plans, I have a present for you, one that will improve our chances.
Carmen pulls a small box from the nearest rack, one you hadn't noticed before, and hinges it open, revealing a chunk of tech you don't recognize.
It's a spoof transponder. It will conceal your ship on approach to Darkseid, give it a new identity, one unlikely to draw attention from the Utsubo-controlled docking admin.
Seraphin takes the transponder and turns it over. Where did you get this?
Even retired mercenaries have their secrets.
Carmen smiles. Seraphin looks to you. I'll be with you this time, Sleeper. He nods. We should think who else we want on the station, too.
I agree, Carmen interrupts. Make sure you trust those you bring with you, and prepare as best you can. We can't know how this will play out.
You nod. You'll get one shot at this.
Then we're ready. Carmen takes a deep breath. I have my own way of getting onto Darkside, but here... He passes you a small strip of plastic stamped with numbers. My private frequency. When you are on approach to Darkside, message me here, and I will sync up my transit. He points at the transponder in Seraphin's hand. Just make sure to install that first. Seraphin nods. We've got it. He sighs, the weight of the task ahead suddenly very apparent. Well, I suppose that's it. Carmen gives you a serious look. It is. He smiles. Don't leave me waiting long. There will be more time when this is all over. Time where you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder, I hope. You leave Carmen in the back of the wheat sheaf field, Flint sliding open the door as you leave. It takes your entire journey back to the ship for your nerves to settle. The end of this ordeal is so close, and yet it feels like an impossible leap to get there. Perhaps in a handful of cycles, you will know how impossible or possible it is. So, how are we feeling about this Solheim protocol in your head? Seraphin doesn't look up from installing the transponder, a set of wires and cables waving loosely around him in the low light of the cockpit. Overseer is okay. Glad to hear it, although you'll have to forgive me for being a bit concerned. He begins unscrewing a panel beneath the flight console. Maybe you could have mentioned it earlier. Seraphin clips his magnetic screwdriver to the side of the console's base and turns to face you, dusting off his hands. I've understood for a while now, Sleeper, that there are things you experience that I can't even come close to knowing how they feel. But that doesn't mean I don't understand you as a person. Seraphin gives you a concerned look. I know you're secretive, defensive, and I know that there are reasons for that. I also know that you're warm and kind and generous to those on this ship with you. Seraphin pauses, collecting his thoughts. I trust you, Sleeper, and I won't question this. But please, hold on to what's human in you, because that is what I am holding on to. Seraphin stops, his eyes a little wild, his tone a little unsure. Then he finds himself again, settling his emotions, and turns back to the transponder. Right, that's it. He twists something beneath the console. Spoof transponder is in. There's nothing keeping us out of Darkside. You exchange a look. Say the word when you want to go. I think we go. Let's go. Ooh. Junie or Flint? I want to take Junin because we've kind of took Junie on everything and we still don't really have anyone good with interfacing. Flint is okay at interfacing and engineering, but I have engineering well covered. But I like Flint. But I also like Junie because she fucking domed a guy with a keyboard to save our ass. Oh, wait. I can take them both. For some reason, I assumed Seraphin was going to be occupying a spot. Never mind, we'll take them both. All right, Sleeper. You want to do the honors? Seraphin is strapped into the pilot seat, guiding the rig towards Darkside. You take the strip of plastic Carmen gave you and copy the frequency into the comms window of the console. You type a simple message. Heading in. Good luck. The console chimes. The message is sent. You hope Carmen is in range to receive it. You search inside your mind, wanting to find Overseer there, but you feel no presence. You hope they will be ready when called for. You look out ahead, out of the cockpit, towards the distant glimmer of Darkside. Time to take on Lane. Let's fucking go! When Seraphin finally brings the rig into the Sunward docks, everyone in the cockpit lets out a sigh of relief. The approach was simple, routine even. Checking in with the port administration, being assigned to a dock, bringing the rig to a stop, all of it familiar, but all of it laced with the tension of knowing that, at any point, it could all go very wrong. The spoof transponder worked. Seraphin shakes his head, so at least we know Carmen's as good as his word. Was there any doubt? Well, Seraphin shrugs. I've got used to things not going to plan by now. He shuts down the engine and unclips from his seat. But I guess there's still plenty of time for that. The transponder is not as complex as you think. Junie unclips from her seat. I imagine Carmen is less concerned with reaching Darkside and more with what happens once we are here. You can trust Carmen. Flint looks to you, and if Carmen trusts Ankita, well, she's good too. We need to worry about Utsubo, not our allies. You try to imagine Carmen somewhere on Darkside, perhaps smuggling himself aboard a freighter, or among the crew of a trusted ally. You hope he is as confident as he seemed about finding Ankita. We need to spend less time worrying about what Carmen has to do and more about what's ahead of us. Seraphin turns to you. The old facility. Habpep, was it? I'm guessing that's deep below all of this. Seraphin gestures towards the vast accumulation that is Darkside, a city that grew on the back of the Habpep solar cells layer by layer. Its chaotic structure is neither planned nor regulated, but the foundations it is built on should be as formal as any corporate facility. That means we need a path down into the foundations, and I suggest that you don't just take the one that we find. Seraphin continues. We scope the area out, carefully, quietly. Look for the right path into the heart of this place. Shouldn't we wait for word from Carmen? Carmen will be in touch. I'll be here when he is. He nods towards the console, the comms window still open from when you sent the message. Are you ready, Sleeper? Junie smiles. I'll be with you every step. Seraphin nods. I'll hold the rig down. We don't want you losing your exit route like last time. He winks. Here. He hands you a comms earpiece. I salvaged this from a suit helmet. It isn't secure, but as long as Utsubo doesn't know we're here, it should be fine. I'll let you know as soon as I hear from Carmen. He meets your eye. Go get this done, Sleeper. You nod. This is what it all comes down to. Okay. Oh, Flint, bad start, bud. Bad fucking start, my guy. The underpass. Gaining access to the core of the old Habpep facility means exploring every path down to find the right descent. The underpass cuts deep into the old substructure. Perhaps it could help you access the old core. The docks are a winding maze of passages, but perhaps one leads into the old substructure. Here, where the old substructure is exposed, might be the perfect place to gain entry to the station's core. Let's start with the outside path, I think. Going in from outside is gonna be one of the better ways to do it. Here, where the layers of the facility are exposed, it is possible to enter from the outside and explore inwards. Among the rust and decay, there are markers and signs of the old facility. These are vital navigation tools. Inspecting the layers, there's a place where the old station begins. This is where you need to go. It seems there's nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Okay. Boy. We don't have a lot of value here. Flint, you did so bad. I have a feeling stress management is going to be a big part of this right now. We don't have a timetable, but if I lose these guys, that's going to be a problem, and that's going to be the biggest thing to watch out with Junie, because she only has 4 stress. So let's be very careful with how we use Junie, I think. If you find the right bulkhead to crack, you can skip many, many tunnels on your way down. One time. It's okay. The descent through the bulkheads makes for hard-won progress, but at least it's direct. Let's try.
The tunnels are a confusing mess. It is impossible to make progress. Okay. It seems there's nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Flint, you have negatives of both of these. Flint, you don't... We're not doing anything today, man. You hit the showers. Okay. That's a great start. That's excellent. Okay. Let's just see if we can crack this son of a bitch open. There are tunnels hidden in a few places that go down into the dark. Perhaps one of these will work. Engage is the stat. We don't have anyone to cover at all. Whoa! Very bright. Can't tell if that's a fucked up texture. As you are gliding down a dark tunnel, descending deeper below Darkside, your earpiece begins hissing with static. Sleeper. Seraphine's voice sounds distant, faint. Carmen? Contact. Met with target. You strain to hear the rest of the message, but the static overpowers his voice. You stop and push the earpiece in deeper. Continue. Stay safe. The line goes dead. Junie stops and looks back over her shoulder. Signal is only going to get worse as we go. She glances down the tunnel. Seems like Carmen is progressing. We should focus on the task at head. The mainframe can't be far. You continue your descent down, ducking under thick cables and collapsed beams. The busy, urban life of the city above seems far away now, hidden from your senses. It is a rumble and brightness that has been replaced with the cloying dark and a growing, oppressive heat. Darkside and the HabPep facility it was built on has been running unrestrained ever since the collapse, gathering huge volumes of energy, more than its residences could ever use. You feel like you can sense it in the walls, running like a torrent just behind the thin skin of metal and rubber. A large portion of the vast amount of current running through the station is radiated into the void as heat, making Darkside a typically humid station. But down here that heat is drier and more intense, and sections of wall glow with a fiery intensity. The tunnel levels out, and light blasts through the shutter-striped viewing windows on either side, illuminating the passage in strips of burning white. Through the gaps you can see a labyrinth of walkways and scaffolding tucked into the margins of the vast solar cells. The heat washes across your vinyl skin, making you tense against it. The underside of Darkside must be crossed. Just that one. Follow the hard line. The hard line network of the old station will surely lead you back to the core, if you can decipher it. Backing with the heat and overcharged with electricity, it is best to avoid the solar cells and stick to the margins. Now that you are inside the old facility, the problem is descending quickly and safely to the core. Okay. Let's throw my gamers out first. The hardlines gather and lead into a deep, cooler passage. You must be close. The network itself is a danger, overcharged by the cells and prone to blowouts. This isn't good. Push that. Take a 6. Easy. You've made it to the core of the old HabPep station, finally. In your exploration of the HabPep facility, you have seen through viewing windows and shutter slats a huge blister projecting out among the hex-shaped cells. You have approached it, circled it, and now you find yourself passing into it through layer after layer of broken and corroded safety doors. Even if you had not felt Overseer stirring, you would know that this is the mainframe. But you have felt the protocol's presence restlessly turning over in your mind like a sleeping animal, occasionally probing your senses, tracking your progress. We feel at home! The Overseer's multiple bodies stretch out their arms as if basking in the sunlight.
The systems, network, signals, they are fractured and weak, but we know them. Each of the broken heads shares part of a smile. They are welcoming us. Sleeper? Junie's concerned face swims into your vision. Is the protocol talking to you? She looks into your eyes, worried. They are getting stronger already. You need to keep your focus. We're at the mainframe. You look around, suddenly aware that you have drifted somewhere you do not recognize in a state you are not in control of. The spherical chamber you float within has a mezzanine set around its circumference. The floor, a metal grating you can see through. On this mezzanine are banks and banks of terminals, thick, gathered cables snaking away from them across the floor. All of it bakes in the heat of the Habpep's vast resistors. You follow the cables with your eye. They lead to a cylindrical column coming down from the apex of the chamber. It is corroded and bent a little, with very few of its thousands of lights still flickering. Even in its decayed state, you know immediately this is the mainframe. You feel a yearning towards it, one you know comes from Overseer. But as you look around for a connection point, all you see are burnt-out cables, rusted sockets, and broken terminals. The glow of warmth makes you feel woozy. You need to work quickly to bring this back online before the current flowing through the walls bakes you in the metal of its walls. Okay. What do we have to do? Oh good, engineering. Not with this one glitch die, however. This is the first. This is our next. Oh god, come on. I'm really glad I have that +2 in engineering. The mainframe is in a terrible state. It needs work before Overseer can be given access. The mainframe's terminals list millions of errors. They need to be rebooted before they can be used. There's no way to interface with the ruined mainframe without clean connectors. Can this even work? Oh, it can, and it will. Methodically stripping, repairing, and reattaching the connectors yields the best results. A terminal is repaired, rebooted, and running well. Just a few more to go. The mainframe hums and sparks. Now is the time to connect to it. The column of the mainframe pulses with fractured lights, a scattered wave of systems awakening, accompanied by the whine and stutter of the machines all around. Mainframe is up. Flint looks nervously around the room, now shaking and shimmering with energy. Time to connect. But if I see something that isn't right, I'm pulling you out. You reach out for the primed connector and with your other hand touch the socket at the base of your synthetic skull. As you do, a sharp shock runs through your fingers. But for a moment it feels like your vision doubles. But as you pull the connector and its cable across your vision, you see it is only your body that is doubling. The connector, a stable object, while your arm leaves ghostly imprints through the air. You wave it back and forth, but the multiplied arms do not follow. Each instead takes on a life of its own, grabbing around your forearm and wrist, taking control of your arm. You feel their force as they push your arm across your body over your shoulder. They push once more and the connector finds its home in the socket. That familiar flow, but stronger, rushing, rapid. Then a figure, no, 3 figures, descending into it. A swimmer stepping into a river, a sleeper drifting out of an airlock, a symbol being subsumed into a sign. And you, little more than a witness, a marionette, its strings outstretched, mapped hand to hand, leg to leg to another. The flow freezes, the 3 figures almost overlapping, almost complete, but not quite. Their tripled eyes look back at you in horror. Their voice, shrill, silent in your head. There's someone else in here! heat glazing your thick vinyl skin, the mainframe a whirring chaos of light and sound, a brightness, and then it fades, the lights shutting off, the servers powering down, a single blinking light, the only thing left on the dark column, keeping time like a metronome. What happened? Flint looks you up and down, checking for damage. Did something blow in the system? Did Overseer cross over? You close your eyes and try to recall the events that happened when you connected, playing them back in greater detail. Overseer was there, entering the mainframe, but something froze the system, locked them in place. What did they say? Someone was in there with them? You open your eyes. Was this a trap? Someone has trapped Overseer. As you speak, a fizzing static fills one ear. You flinch, thinking it is some new invasion of your system, but then you hear Seraphine through the haze. Sleeper, come now, waiting. The rig. It's no use. You'll have to ascend to find out what's going on topside. You look at the mainframe with its single blinking light still keeping time. It looks like Overseer will have to wait. Trapped in the mainframe, Overseer is still the key to all of this. You hope you can get the protocol out, but you need to hear what Seraphine has to say first. You make your way out of the core, ascending back through the layers of the Habpep, back into the docks. Seraphine meets you at the docking tunnel. They're waiting inside. He shakes his head and nods towards the airlock. Come on. You cross onto the ship in silence and find Carmen in the cockpit, looking out at Darkside as it sprawls across the stars.
Sleeper! Carmen turns. Sorry to pull you away, but you need to know what's coming.
What's going on? This idiot blew my cover! You turn to Ankita. You turn as Ankita enters the cockpit behind you and Seraphine. You immediately clock the fresh bandage sleeve around her right forearm.
I think you did a pretty good job of that yourself,
Carmen retorts. You see a twinkle in his eye that suggests this back and forth is a well-practiced part of their relationship.
Perhaps, but we'll never know that now. Not after you intervened to rescue me.
Her hand goes instinctively to her bandaged arm. Can someone explain what happened?
I passed the data to Ankita and she tried to broach it with Utsubo.
Carmen folds his arms.
But Lane was more paranoid than we expected. He was listening in. Either that or his lapdog Daichi ratted us out. She shakes her head. I would have put him down if he hadn't gotten the jump on me.
Hey, clone, welcome in.
Either way, Carmen cuts back in calmly. I had to pull Ankita out.
Carmen turns back to look over Darkside.
The information did get through, though, and now Utsubo is in crisis, as its members side with or against Lane. Meanwhile, Daichi is hunting us.
Ankita screws up her face.
Which means we need to be careful.
Just finished this 2 weeks ago with Science, started Citizen Sleeper 1 on Monday. Hell yeah. I like Citizen Sleeper 1 a lot. This is my first time through this one, though. But we did Citizen Sleeper 1 before this one. So we're working in the opposite direction.
That's why I called you in. Seraphine puts a hand on your shoulder. You need to watch your back.
Indeed.
Carmen turns to face you.
But how about the mainframe? Have you been successful?
You explain the events of this cycle, the mainframe booting up, the successful connection, and then Overseer being locked inside, frozen by some other force. You mention their warning. There's someone else in here. Carmen nods thoughtfully.
Unfortunately, we need that mainframe more than ever. With Ankita out of Utsubo, we have to get the word out.
I'm excited to see the new content. I played it before any of the DLC came out. Yeah. I don't think we did any of the DLC in the run that we did because we subsumed ourselves into a mushroom hive mind.
Carmen's right. Utsubo will be distracted by these revelations, but it won't be too late. But it won't last. Without further proof, they'll all line up behind Lane in time. We have to free Overseer.
We need the mainframe. Overseer is just our access tool. If your protocol is being locked in by some counter-protocol or agent, I wouldn't be surprised if it can be tracked back to Utsubo.
Ankita looks at Carmen.
I know the location of a few of the Utsubo network nodes. We should hit them first. No,
We need to stay under the radar. Sleeper and their crew will investigate the nodes quietly. Carmen nods at you. You and I will run interference. Keep Utsubo away from those locations as best we can. What if we don't find anything? Utsubo uses the hardline network of the old facility. If it isn't them locking down the mainframe, it's someone else using that infrastructure. You think of the feeling of stasis you felt when Overseer was trapped, and the power required to halt the flow of a mainframe as vast and ingrown as the Habpep one. Could it just be an Utsubo hacker? You doubt it. Seems like we have a plan. Seraphin looks between you all. That we do, and we'll need you to keep running comms between us. Carmen turns to you. Sleeper, Ankita will give you the locations to dig into, but keep it quiet. Daichi is out there, and he isn't as easily avoided as some low-ranking enforcer. Ankita slaps the top of a couple of crates of supplies you hadn't noticed earlier. Consider these a parting gift for my tenure at Utsubo. Swipe them from a gang storehouse. She grins. Thought you might need a resupply. All right. Carmen addresses the room. Keep quiet and keep in touch. We can still pull this off.
Yeah, alright. I figured Daichi would be becoming a fucking problem.
I hate this asshole.
Okay, what do we got? The dock node. Bypass the node.
This network access node is part of the Utsubo docking infrastructure. It's out in the open, which presents its own problems. It should only take accessing 2 network nodes to identify the protocol or agent interfering with the mainframe. Okay, can we... This network access node is tucked beneath the dark side markets and will be hard to precisely locate. This network access node is on the top floor of a tower, so physical and digital access will be tricky.
Oh, do we not have... Oh, we don't have a way to turn Daichi's hunt off on this one. Oh, fuck. That sucks. Okay, is one of these an engineering one that I can throw my 3 into? None of them are engineering? Fuck me, dude. That sucks. Okay, I think we try a 4 here, though I'm very concerned. Okay, that's good. That's a great start. I'm gonna push one of these, do that, and then I think we're just gonna sit on this fucking 2. Unless... No, we sit on the 2, we don't do it. The risk is too great. We're full of supplies. We're only getting 1 Daichi tick of stress. I don't need to alert him faster. Come on, dude. Why can't I get a good roll? Fuck. Oh, what a bummer. Okay. All right, let's finish this node. You have remote access to the node now, allowing you to track network traffic through the hard line. All right, we got 1. I can endure and endure. I can intuit and intuit. Let me climb. I'm gonna climb. We climbing.
Step by step, a route up the tower is discovered, but it is impossible to remain unseen. Junie, come on, girl. We can't tip Daichi off.
Flint? I believe in you.
Okay. Cool. I don't believe it. Carmen stares through the shutters of the viewing window at a smooth, squat ship tucked into the derelict bay between the hexes.
How long has it been here?
When the nodes were hacked and the trace established, you imagined it might lead to an Utsubo operator, or perhaps an old subnode containing an aggressive Solheim protocol gone mad with isolation. Not this. Never this. A Senate stat ship tucked into the belly of the dark side like a parasite.
We need to move on that ship now.
Ankita is already adjusting her gear, preparing for an assault.
We can hit Utsubo's safe house for weaponry. There's one.
Carmen holds up a hand.
This is a gift, Ankita. Don't be so brash.
He turns back to face the both of you.
All we had now was data, conversations, evidence easily denied or destroyed by Lane. But a Senate stat ship hidden in the station?
Carmen nods grimly.
There are hundreds of crews, thousands of residents who would give everything to protect Darkseid from the war.
Carmen turns back to the ship silhouetted against the starlight.
All we need to do is point them in the right direction.
We turn Darkseid on the ship.
And on Lane at the same time.
Carmen nods grimly.
We leak it all. Send it out through the mainframe, the ship's location, the evidence of Lane's betrayal, all of it.
You are forgetting one thing. Ankita interrupts. Until that ship leaves or is taken, they still have the mainframe locked down. We can't blast out its location through the network without taking it on first. Carmen pauses, considering his options. You look out at the Senate stat ship, half concealed in the bay. It looks sleek, dangerous. What defenses might a ship like that deploy when threatened? Carmen and Ankita exchange looks.
Then we attack first. Carmen and I will distract the ship's occupants, turn their focus away from the mainframe. Then you, Sleeper, hit the mainframe and force them out. As soon as Overseer is released, you send out everything. Once it hits the network, our backup will come.
He gives Ankita a grim look.
We only have to hold them off for as long as it takes for other crews to realize what is happening.
The plan feels desperate, and you know that. Carmen and Ankita think so too. Will Darkseid really mobilize against the ship so quickly? Two old mercs against an unknown Senate stat force feels like an unwinnable battle.
We know the stakes, Sleeper.
Ankita takes a deep breath.
We can handle them.
Ankita frowns, an unpleasant thought passing through her mind.
I have given up everything to get Utsubo out. Let me finish the job.
Okay, let's do it. Ankita nods.
Go to the mainframe and get set up. When you're ready to connect, let us know.
Carmen puts a hand on your shoulder.
Once you start, don't stop for anything. Get the data out.
He meets your eye.
We will handle ourselves.
You turn and glide away, looking over your shoulder at the two ex-mercenaries as they discuss their plan of attack. Seeing them slip back into these old roles, you can't help but wonder. Does anyone ever outrun their past? Or is it always waiting there in the dark to claim you in the end?
Ba-dum-bum. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything with these ones. But we have an engineering check now. Thank fuck. And it looks like Daichi's isn't going to ramp. Oh, hey, cool. Even if my rolls are dog shit, my team knows what they're doing today. That you love to see.
You need to prepare to force the Senate stat hackers out of the system. Once Carmen and Ankita strike, you won't have much time. You might just have a few moments to push the SenateStat hackers out. The more you can prepare, the better. Slowly but surely, terminals are set up to flood the mainframe with junk requests at your signal. The layers of subsidiary systems fall away from the mainframe like pieces of a cocoon. The mainframe is ready. Time to call in Ankita and Carmen's strike on the ship. The heat inside the HabPep core is intense as you stare at the column of the mainframe, its one light blinking, still keeping time.
Terminals, connections, it all looks good, Sleeper.
Junie turns to you, her hair stuck to her forehead with sweat.
We can get Overseer out. All we need is for Carmen to force SenateStat to stop paying attention to us.
You glance at Ankita's thumbnail drive, now slotted into the main terminal, containing a data packet with everything you need to unseat Lane and reveal the SenateStat ship. You hope it will be enough. You hold a finger to your earpiece and let Seraphin know to relay the message through to Carmen.
All right. Seraphin's voice is heavy with worry. I'll tell them.
A long pause. Be safe, Sleeper. Get this done and come back.
I will. Good luck, friend.
The comm clicks off as Seraphin switches to Carmen's channel. You wait, imagining the conversation, the terse words activating the plan. You wait, long enough for Carmen and Ankita to nod to each other, long enough for them to drop down through the bays in silence, to check the weapons they stole from Utsubo, to take their positions, and then to make their move. You grab the connector and hold it to your head close to your access port. You silently count to 3 and then connect. At first, nothing has changed. You drop into a state of stasis, a small, dark space with no cracks. The mainframe is locked down, shut off, squeezed inside the grip of some clenched fist. Then you see it, a trickle of light, a flicker of threads. Overseer flows into the space, and the torrent begins to run. The rushing gray pulse of data, the connective threads, the jewel of the mainframe. They grow inside the space. They grow inside the space, and the space, in turn, grows. We see you there, Sleeper. Overseer separates and reforms within their expanding landscape. Who is the other? An enemy. Overseer's 3 heads nod. Then we will do what is necessary. Overseer explodes. The points and lines of light that described its human form separate and multiply, constellations bursting outward like a tree of stars. Overseer becomes plural. As they do, the darkness is pushed back and the extent of the mainframe is revealed. It is a stack of jeweled surfaces, each revealing more facets as the angle changes. From these facets, threads project, cutting out across Darkside, paths that stretch the length of the entire station. Their arrangement is an invitation. You accept their invitation, sending yourself skimming through the lines of light, seeing how the station connects and hums with the flow of data. You see the highest tower, the lowest hex, and then the origin of the dark. A squiggle of black wrestles around a single point, the SenateStat ship, now a battleground. You see flashes and flickers as Overseer dances around it, cuts at it. But looking around, you see Overseers everywhere now, multiplied into 1,000 forms, reunited with a system designed to serve them. They dissolve into it. You suddenly remember what needs to happen, what you need them to do. You send out separate requests, summoning Overseer, reminding them of your arrangement. You take the bright polygon of the data packet and present it like an offering to the Overseer, who is diffuse, crackling all around you, euphoric in their reconstruction as a functional protocol. You receive no response. There is nothing more than a whisper, snatched away on the flow of data rushing by. And then you hear the static in your earpiece, Seraphin's desperate cry for a response. You see a bright point suddenly close, inside the core with you, a broadcast going out from it like the beam from a lighthouse. You reach back and pull the connector just to clear the brightness from your eyes, just to block the broadcast.
I've found you.
Lane floats in the mainframe, sweat across his brow, his eyes steely cold.
I finally found you.
Junie comes out of the dark with a force and ferocity, striking at Lane, wrestling him away. Go, girl! Let's go! You freeze, watching Lane fight back, hearing Seraphin's voice shimmering in your earpiece, passing on Carmen's desperate request for aid. Help fight Lane. You kick off from the terminal behind you, gliding through that flickering lights that emanate from the mainframe. As you do, a bright crack and flicker fires, and you see a figure fall back stunned. You cannot slow your approach, and you slam into Lane. That crack and flicker again, a bright pain that locks your body in spasms. Lane with a weapon, something boxy in his hand, your friend stunned, just out of reach. Lane's face large in your vision, a smile like knives. The fingers of Lane's carrier signal reach inside your mind. You are boxed into the viewing window behind your eyes, a passenger in your own body. Lane is now in control.
Oh, it's so much easier now that I am prepared. It's almost a seamless switch.
Lane's face is in your vision, but his mouth does not move.
And the duality of it, like a mirror turned to face itself.
In perfect unison, you and Lane lift your hands in front of your face and turn them, inspecting them. You feel sickened, a flare of panic going off in your mind.
Look at this.
Lane opens and closes your fists with a motion like a wave that runs finger to finger.
There are improvements to be made, but this is remarkable.
Lane's eyes look in your eyes, a perfect loop.
I always knew your body was a gift, Sleeper, from the moment I first saw you. A gift you could not recognize because you only saw a burden, something to be escaped from, but I saw what it was.
Lane's eyes flash.
An opportunity.
Like a puppet, you are turned to face the mainframe. You glide forward a little, hands reaching for the access terminal. Ankita's drive glints there in its slot. You control none of this. Lane's voice.
Imagine having more than one body, more than one agent in the world to do your bidding.
Your hand reaches down, finger and thumb pinching delicately around the drive.
It's a thrilling thought, and one that I have harbored for a long time.
With a short, sharp motion, you pull the drive free.
Then I saw you, my Sleeper, and knew I must have you.
You hear Seraphin's voice in your ear.
Sleeper, Carmen needs that signal to go out now.
There is panic in his voice. They can't hold out any longer. No matter how hard you try, your lips do not move. No words can be produced. You feel your hand under Lane's control, reaching up and pull the earpiece out, letting it float away into the chamber. Hey, where's Flint? Come on, man.
Enough distractions.
Your other hand holds up Ankita's drive, turning it in the light in front of your eyes.
Some time ago, I set myself the task of changing you from a hollow thing into a vessel to be filled.
Your finger and thumb transfer the drive to your palm.
And now I'm able, with the help of my allies, to fill you up. I am more than singular now, more than flesh and blood, more than you, in my ambition, in my desire, and that means you are surplus to me now.
Your fist closes around the drive, crushing it to dust.
Weak and broken thing. Your time is over.
Lane's other body approaches you and lays its hand on either side of your head. You feel the pressure. You cannot move. You cannot resist. And then a spark, as one of Lane's fingers slips and depresses a little into the access port of your head. There is a flicker, the flash of something passing through the spaces between, something writing a signal back to its broadcaster. We have not forgotten! You hear, Overseer. They are reconstituted. We are ready to act as one. Overseer holds the bright data packet in a single hand. We were broken, we were many, but now we are whole, and we appreciate what you have done. Overseer shapes the data packet into a point, a bright spear of light. The spear extends through your mind gently, harming nothing of you. Instead, its point finds the mind of the other, of Lane, and pierces it directly. You hear Lane scream as his implants burn in his skull, his head flaring bright white in the cloud. And then when that mind has gone dark, and the pressure on the sides of your head has receded, the packet explodes across the network, white hot and urgent. In its wake, data points are seeded, conversations, coordinates, a conspiracy. At the furthest point of the network, its distant edge, the data packet arrives with little more force than a notification, delivered to every device and terminal within its range. But here, at the epicenter, it blasts through you with such power. For a moment, every thought, every idea, every piece that might make up a self is wiped cleanly from your mind. It takes a long time to put a person back together. A long time in the dark picking up fragments of what was once whole. Like waking from sleep, you can never be sure about what might have gone missing in the reconstruction, what might have been lost. But you continue anyway through hazy cycles of faces and distant voices. This is, after all, not the first time you have had to remake yourself, and you imagine it will not be the last. You're up. Seraphin finds you looking out the lone window in the rig's berths, a slit that stares out across a shattered edge of Darkside. How long was I out? Seraphin gives you a half grin. Best not to think about it. He looks away for a second. Long enough. Suddenly, Seraphin crosses the bunks and embraces you. He squeezes you once and then backs off, hands on both your shoulders. Good to see you up. He smiles, as always. Come on, we need to find Bliss. Seraphin leads you out of the bunks through the ship and down the docking tunnel onto Darkside. As you glide through the docks, he recounts what's been happening over these past cycles. You weren't the only one to take a beating. He squeezes through a group of cargo porters carrying crates. Ankita and Carmen held out against the Senetstat ship long enough, but they aren't without their share of injuries. They're back on their feet now, though, working together. They've managed to quiet down some of the remnants of Utsubo, stop the factional infighting. They're clearing out one of the Utsubo safe houses over in the Rise. I'm sure they could use the help of you if you need something to do. Marco has come to the station, too. He wanted to help with the cleanup of Utsubo after Utsubo fell. He's working with Ankita. I should go see him, but... Seraphin sighs. You feel like he hasn't quite accepted Marco's reappearance. You aren't sure how you'd react to seeing him again either. Oh, and Carmen isn't sticking around. He's already left for Oliveira. Seraphin pauses for a second, a memory of that place coming back to him. You watch him shake the thought away. Junie, meanwhile, is still digging into all that data she managed to pull from the bunker. She's down in the HabPep core most cycles trying to make sense of it. Anyway, you'll soon catch up on everything. He smiles sympathetically, but there's something behind his look. You can't quite place it. The two of you continue on in silence, drifting into the depths of Darkside. Good friends, side by side. Seraphin leads you down into a passage lined with the bright screens and signs, sound and light blasting out of the shop fronts on either side. You know the place. Flicker Row. He stops outside a familiar door, the shop you woke up in all those cycles ago. He gives the door a few quick raps with his knuckles. You wait. Hey, Sleeper. He shoots you a glance. When you're ready, we should talk about the future. Whatever comes next. All that. Give me some time. Yeah, of course. He looks away. Just feels like a few things have changed. Sleeper! Bliss opens the door and immediately jumps to hug you. They let go sheepishly and look between you and Seraphim.
First day up, I thought you'd both be celebrating your freedom.
Don't want to overdo it. Seraphim shakes his head. Plus, there's more important stuff to talk about. His eyes shoot into the shop beyond. Bliss's voice drops.
You sure, Seraphim? They just got up. Can't it wait a cycle?
Seraphim looks at you. They should know, Bliss. It's important. They nod hesitantly and then back into the shop, letting you come inside. Little has changed since you were last there. The stacks of servers, the refurbished hardware secured in roof and wall nettings, the connectors including the one that facilitated your reboot. Bliss and Seraphim follow behind quietly, and the atmosphere is immediately ominous.
I've been keeping an eye on you these past few cycles.
Bliss hooks their legs onto a stool by the counter,
making sure you were stable. Your frame, I'm sure you know, has been pushed through a lot, and when Overseer pushed Lane out, well, things got more complicated. All those changes Lane made to your system, he did it through your stabilizer. He laced it with proteins meant to alter your frame's basic function, to accept other emulations, other minds, to open you up to remote access. What Overseer did corrected some of that, or at least wiped it from your system, but the stress involved and the damage from your last partial reboot?
Bliss falls silent, unable to answer their own questions. We need to finish the reboot, Sleeper. The one Lane interrupted. Seraphim can always be relied on to tell you things straight.
Not immediately,
Bliss cuts in.
but at some point soon. I'm not quite ready, but now that you're up,
Bliss looks down.
I'll get to work. How can I prepare?
Bliss takes a deep breath.
Look, I'll be honest, Sleeper. I know we need to finish the reboot Lane interrupted. I'm sure of it. But the effects?
They shake their head.
Your frame was complex enough to begin with, but after everything, the reaction could be bad. We can talk more about it when I have the...
Bliss stops suddenly, their eyes shooting to the door. Sorry, am I? Flint floats in the doorway. They look at you wide-eyed. You're up! A smile crosses their face, although it quickly fades. Good to see you. Really good. How are you doing, Flint? Good. They glance at Bliss, smiling. Mostly thanks to Bliss. They've been taking care of me. Bliss smiles back.
Flint has become my patient, too.
Bliss clasps their hands nervously together.
We've been trying to acquire some of the stabilizer from Lane's stores, which has helped, but we don't have much of a supply.
Bliss is going to reboot me like you were. Flint cuts in. I won't need stabilizer anymore. They sound almost excited at the prospect. You look to Bliss.
Flint knows the risks, but they have asked for the procedure.
They give Flint a warning look.
Still, they shouldn't underestimate the danger.
Bliss looks at Flint.
Sleeper will also need to do the reboot, but they don't have a choice in the matter. It is essential.
Flint goes quiet. Bliss and Seraphim look nervously at you to see your reaction to all of this. You feel like a spotlight is being shown into your face. All you want is some time alone to think. We should do it together. Flint speaks quietly. Whatever we risk it together. They meet your eye. I owe you that and more.
Let's pick this up again in the future.
Bliss tries to calm the tension.
I need many cycles to prepare, especially if I'm to reboot you both simultaneously. It will be your choice, Sleeper. You decide when.
They reach out and lay a hand on yours.
But without this, you will soon begin to decline. I'm sorry for that.
Your head spins. Seraphim slaps a button to open the door. Come on, Sleeper, let's get some air. You follow him outside, but when you get there, all you can think is that you can't breathe. You don't need to breathe. A wave of claustrophobia passes over you. You're in control of this, Sleeper. Seraphim stares at the lights and signs of Flicker Row looping endlessly. You put what you need in order and I'll be right there with you. I got Bliss to teach me a little about the repairs they've been doing for you. Seraphim rubs his hands together. I know it's getting worse, but I'll do my best to help keep you running. You let me know when you want to leave, and I'll fly you out of this place faster than you can believe. He turns to face you, and we can go wherever you need. He frowns. There's time for us yet. Thank you. You never need to thank me, Sleeper. He pats you on the shoulder. Just look after yourself. I was also thinking. Seraphim looks away. I got a message from Oliveira. They're still getting the place together, but with Carmen heading back,
The colony is starting a new chapter. Maybe we should head out there at some point. Lend a hand.
He pauses, unwilling to push it further.
Just a thought. Anyway, just give the word.
Seraphin smiles.
We're all glad you're back.
He turns and drifts away, leaving you among the cycling colors and cacophonous sounds of Flicker Row. You close your eyes and let them wash over you like a wave. There in the dark of your mind, you search for Overseer, but the protocol does not appear. You wonder if, in that final moment, Overseer might have destroyed themselves to end Lane. But then you feel it flickering nearby, a signal in the dark. You open your eyes and see something pass through the screens of Flicker Row, a shadow in all the brightness. Could Overseer still be there in the ancient networks of the Habpep? You turn away and glide out of the row. You have other things to worry about now.
Jesus Christ! Let me stop the game! The ad is starting, immediately. And it hasn't saved for 20 minutes. I have to wait for this fucking ad to run. Citizen Sleeper, I love you, but come on. This is insane. And the executive producer just closed my door. Cool. I don't know if an ad is running or not. Yeah, I got fucking cutscene in sequence. Jesus Christ. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna go, because Twitch won't tell me if an ad is running or not. Are you fucking kidding me? How are you doing?
Cadet finds you in a darkside thoroughfare, a glassed roof canyon of struts and screens.
Oh.
Not great. Cadet nods. I'm sorry to hear that. She looks around.
We made it here at least.
She gestures around the broad street with its layers of tech and dirt.
Heart of the belt?
You really look, at the glass-roofed street. Its walls are built from scaffold and shipping containers, hull plates and Solheim Hab units. People glide across the open space to units and shops on either side, and everywhere, screens flicker and glare without sense and reason. You can feel the heat, the power that flows through this place, collected by the vast solar cells that form the city's foundations. Heart is the right word. This place is a center of circulation, toned muscle, tough, and running to a beat. You turn to Cadet and see it in her eyes. She loves being here.
I've been thinking.
She glances away.
Of how good it would feel to run my airbike down the street.
She smiles.
The city has no need for couriers, right?
The city has to need couriers, right?
That's a good idea.
I know. She flexes her shoulders back.
But there's some unfinished business weighing me down.
She meets your eye. Hexport. You think of the drive tucked away in the scatter yards, the one that contains the data stream from a drone mined vivisection, the one that might have caused the loss of an entire station. Not allowing you to leave at the end of your shift. This really is a capitalism simulator. Fucking right.
We need to finish what we started.
Cadet looks deadly serious.
Find who is responsible and make it known. Clear my name.
Is Hexport still irradiated?
I would think so.
She sighs, but it'll be fading. We can get in and out safely from what I know. And we better try soon, because the safer it gets, the more scavengers will come to pick the bones. We want there to be something left to tell the story.
I know a lot just went down.
Cadet puts a hand on her hip, but these clowns could still be operating. Hell, they could be trying to do the same thing again on this station. We need to go find what they did. She takes a deep breath. I'll be waiting.
And maybe once it's all done,
she turns away.
I'll let you take the first airbike ride through this place.
She raises a hand and then is gone.
Okay, thank Christ. All right. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm gonna end this right quick because it is really, I'm already 20 minutes past schedule. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate everyone being here. Thanks for sticking around for even a slightly extended shift, and I hope to see you all tomorrow when we potentially, I think, finish this game, if I had to take a guess, just based on what's left to go. But we'll see, I suppose. Thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. for more Citizen Sleeper 2. Bye.
Hey, if you stuck around to the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed. If you want to help support me in making more of this, you can follow me on Twitch, where I stream these live. Like, comment, and subscribe. I suspect you all know how this works by now, but it really does help a lot. Thanks.